Whenever you're ready, Kathy, we can get started with our introduction.
Okay, great. What is open intelligence? And we can settle in here. Stop thinking just for a moment. What remains? And there's an alertness, a clarity, openness, the power to know, spacious open intelligence. What's looking right now? We call it open intelligence or awareness. And it's the power to know. It's just naturally present. And obviously, we are not supposed or cannot really stop thinking. Then thoughts appear again, any kind of thoughts we might have right now. And the same open intelligence is equally present with thoughts and without thoughts. And so we don't really need to stop thinking to recognize open intelligence. And sometimes initially it's easier because our focus is so much on our labels, on the what we are thinking right now, and describing everything. So when we stop thinking for a moment, we recognize that there's an alertness, there's an openness, there's a spaciousness of mind. And then we also recognize that all the thoughts appear as the dynamic energy of open intelligence. So when we recognize open intelligence, identify open intelligence, we can actually rely on open intelligence for short moments, repeated many times. And in that's the practice here that we share, that we introduce, and that we invite to practice during the day, wherever we are. And then comes a time when we discover stable, spontaneous, open intelligence. And when we repeat these short moments many times, whenever we remember to do so throughout our day, we don't have to have special thoughts or special emotions or special feelings around anything. It's simply confirming open intelligence, the natural presence of open intelligence for short moments. And stable open intelligence, you can liken it to a crystal ball that's indestructible, that is always clear, no matter what the appearances are in the crystal ball. So whether they are nice or not nice, the crystal ball remains unaffected by any appearances. And yeah, so it doesn't really matter what our thoughts are and our emotions are. The open intelligence, spaciousness is always naturally present and always stable and clear. Oh yeah, today we wanted to speak about the four mainstays, how the four mainstays, this is the support system, empowers open intelligence and its stability and benefits. So the stability of open intelligence and then also the beneficial qualities of open intelligence.
Leaving data as it is can include extremely afflictive states. The four mainstays are the passageway through all affliction, whether past or present. It is powerful to rely on short moments, the instructions and support given to you by the trainer. The training media and texts will reveal to you exactly the support you need at this particular moment, and the worldwide community will support and inspire you to live into the lifestyle of open intelligence and its beneficial potency. Yeah, I love that so much. I know that I wouldn't be where I am today without the four mainstays. And it's wonderful to all be part of passing that on to each other. It's like a contemporary version of the three jewels in Buddhism and in any other tradition. There have always been fellow practitioners around each other. There were teachings, scriptures, texts, instructions that had been passed on, and of course, teachers and people who had gone before, who can then support others who are just starting out on the path. And yeah, it's just maybe we can also hear from some of you later about your experience with that. But for me, there have just been so many times when, even though the short moments practice is so simple and direct in a way, there were so many times when I didn't know didn't know how to practice them. Again, even though it seems so simple, but in in so many moments throughout my experience over the last 20 years, and of course, especially in the beginning, but even later, when maybe specific relationships got challenging or when specific things happen in life, in illness or losing a loved one. It could be so many things that can really become difficult when we feel isolated or it's impossible to recognize open intelligence. And then to be able to reach out to somebody and ask a question, or to listen to the talks, to read a book, or to read the empowerment texts again. It's been so liberating to know that I'm not in this by myself. I don't need to do this on my own. Yeah, it's beautiful. By the power of a short moment of open intelligence, we directly experience freedom from ups and downs. We begin to have a balanced view. Yeah, just in this one single moment of recognizing open intelligence, it is like this view opens up where before, like when we reify data, when we live from that narrow focus and like really holding this tight grip on our thoughts, emotions, opinions, other experiences, when that grip loosens, and we just rest, even just for a moment, for a short moment, we have this direct experience of freedom, even though we might still be in a so-called down, you know, like if we worry about money, our bank account doesn't fill up magically just because we take a short moment, or our relationship with somebody that is challenging, it doesn't become better overnight. But in every moment of relying on open intelligence, we can see this innate stability and this balanced view. We rest naturally as open intelligence for short moments many times. Short moments of open intelligence is soothing and constant emphasis on data is uncomfortable. Yeah, we can feel that when we live with a focus on data, how like tough that is, really tough on ourselves, often tough on those around us, and like tension building, always intensifying. There's always the hope and fear. And in a moment of open intelligence, there is just this sky-like openness that is so soothing, so relaxing and restful.
Regardless of what comes up, maintain open intelligence, because in fact, open intelligence is all that is coming up anyway. So when we see that all the thoughts, emotions, and experiences are the dynamic energy of open intelligence, there's nothing other than open intelligence that is can be recognized in every moment and with everything that is coming up. And knowing what is always stable, what is indestructible and constant in every moment gives us the opportunity to know something about us that is always ultimately reliable. And the four mainstays remind us to be gentle with ourselves and to rely on resting naturally and on resting deeply in the powers of great benefit. Initially, these four mainstays, so the practice of short moments, the teaching texts, the audios or the books, and then the trainer, and then the community, they all confirm open intelligence in their way. So it's a way to yeah, just to remind ourselves to take short moments to recognize open intelligence in various ways. And also be gentle with ourselves, because sometimes we have high expectations on ourselves, how we should feel or how it should look like when we take short moments, when we practice. And especially also when we read something like we rely deeply on the powers of great benefit, how that looks like when we rest naturally. But just over time, when there's more and more confidence in open intelligence, these kinds of aspects reveal themselves, and it becomes stable in itself, becomes spontaneous, and also just automatic. The recognition, the open intelligence, stability, and then also the powers of great benefit, that natural, yeah, beneficial powers that are just inherent in every human being. Mm. And the power to see clearly, have a balanced view, be free of ups and downs, not be affected by all the appearances, the emotional swings, mood swings, and just recognizing a stability, and then a clarity that really helps to interact with people and be of benefit rather than be focused on the limitations of data descriptions. And yeah, by relying on short moments, open intelligence and all its four mainstays, open intelligence becomes increasingly obvious and stable in itself. So at the very moment data form, all these appearances, anything we can describe, rely on powerful and spacious open intelligence. That's the single instruction. That is a short moment of open intelligence. And we do that with just repeatedly, and don't look at how it feels and what our experience is. So it's not about the quality of a short moment, it's more about taking a short moment, the quantity. So we just take another short moment when we are doubting or actually even unsure if this just now was a short moment, then that's actually another thought we might have. Was this just now a short moment, or was that data? These kinds of data will come up, these kinds of thoughts we do have. Our power and energy become grounded in open intelligence rather than in data. I directly understand, like looking at our own experience and seeing how that change in one's own direct experience becomes obvious, that our power, energy is grounded in open intelligence rather than in data, in the emotional ups and downs, in all the thoughts we might have all day long. And that's something more grounded, something more stable, present, as it is. And it becomes more just naturally obvious. Yeah, I guess we can pause here. Let me see. Yeah. Yeah. When we don't emphasize data, we remain open intelligence, and open intelligence becomes more obvious. The power of open intelligence becomes evident, because then the powers of great benefit reveal themselves when we're not like in the cage of descriptions. When something opens, we gain confidence. That's another key point, is like then we gain confidence in open intelligence, and then also in its powers and of benefit and its clarity. Now we will pause here and have some shares on short moments, on the four mainstays, on how the 12 empowerments are going as well. But also questions. If there are any questions, that would be perfect too. Nice to see everyone. Yes, Bill. Hello.
This is just a short thing, but right before the Zoom call started, I was trying to get my printer to work, print out my tax forms that are due tomorrow and stuff like that. And I was having problems with it. You know how you get with tech stuff, or at least I do. And then I thought, well, I'll just try a short moment. And it's pretty magical. It just cut right through all that. And uh, I was no longer fretting about it. And I was left in the present moment, basically, and also with the remains of the adrenaline still coursing around my body and stuff from my freaking out. So anyway, I just wanted to toss that out.
Yeah, that's
Okay.
always great. Have a immediate experience there of our short moments. It's just so helpful. That's so perfect.
I have a
Thank
question
you. Yes,
or
Robert.
comment. Um, I guess I found Candace's video on YouTube. I don't remember even how I did find it, but it totally got my attention. And then I started watching every video I could, which is what I've been doing. I have a question about short moment. What I started doing at the beginning was thinking about flawless intelligence, flawless awareness, and resting as awareness. And when I would say that to myself, I found that it was very, very relaxing to me, and I could rest, whether it was 10 seconds or it didn't matter. Um, but is that, how am I going to say this? Is that I want more clarity on resting as awareness, like Candace talks a lot about flawless awareness, timeless awareness, and so forth. So is that a process that is I don't want to say it's wrong or right. I'm not into that. But so would you comment on that for me?
Yes, perfect. Yeah, it sounds like you're resting naturally as awareness, as open intelligence for short moments. I think you recognized it. It's already present as us all. So it's like when hearing these kinds of teachings, it's great that you found the videos, then it becomes obvious just naturally. It is really as simple as that in a beautiful way. And yes, then you remember resting as awareness or as open intelligence, same thing. Then it becomes more and more obvious. It's something that just gone unnoticed. So yes, your experience is it's becoming more and more obvious. So when you continue these we say short moments because we don't want to get into states, describing them as something, but it didn't look like you're doing that. So that's great.
Okay.
And the key now to make that more and more obvious, continue listening to these talks. And there are also books to download with Candace's talks in book format. And so these kinds of ways of reading, listening, evoke open intelligence, evoke resting naturally, and coming to meetings like this here as well. That's perfect. Yeah. And then it becomes more and more obvious, automatic, and without, yeah, up to a point where we don't need to take short moments. But our short moments are always perfect somehow. It doesn't matter how long but the confidence is so stable and clear that open intelligence is always there, and it's a direct recognition, not only in an intellectual thing. Yeah, so that's great. Yeah. So you're perfect. It was nice to meet you there.
Nice to be here.
Did that sort of answer your question also?
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right. Yeah, Debbie. No, sorry, Tina as well. Debbie first and then Tina.
Okay. Can you hear me?
Yes, perfect.
Okay, great. I last week's meeting was really good for me. I discussed again my struggle with wanting to figure things out, wanting to get things done, and at the end, I got a clearer understanding of how to kind of implement a short moment when I'm caught up in that. And it was one of the concepts of short moments and open um, and awareness and all of that is I have loved the statement of allowing data to be as it is. I've loved that, but I haven't, it's been difficult to do that and not jump into figuring it out and having to do things. But after last meeting, it, something clicked for me at a deeper level with that. And I realized I had a real attachment to managing the data around me, and all my efforts and my doing this and that was in order to manage all of the effects that I wanted to happen. Well, I got really clear that with a short moment, just dropping into that, I kind of detached from that need to do the managing of data to get what I want. And I'm more able to drop into a short moment and allow that to be the thing I'm doing instead of the figuring it out and working harder and that. So short moments became easier all of a sudden to engage with when I was caught up, when I was typically caught up into doing and figuring it out. And it had been really hard to do a short moment at those times, but now I've kind of detached from the need to use those things to manage data, and a short moment is so much easier to get to now in those moments. So it feels really good to be able to bring a short moment to those tough times, because the short moment can make it a tough time so much easier.
Mm.
So, so anyways, so for me, I guess that speaks to that the meetings are really helpful. When you can't quite get it yourself, you either get some feedback that helps, or listening to other people helps to integrate it and to deepen the understanding of short moments and that. So anyways,
That's
it's
great.
a really nice deepening of my understanding.
Wonderful. Yeah. Well, thank you so much for sharing. That's
Mhm.
really powerful. Great. Okay. And then Tina, yeah. Hello.
Hello. Yeah, so I've been thinking about it's been interesting in the last couple of weeks because I stopped doing the empowerments and just kind of stuck with 8 and 9. I'm kind of in the middle of that. Um, and I find that overall, I have an overall calmness, that is around all the time. Even though sometimes I get caught up in my thoughts, I think when I reflect on it, it's not the same as it was before at all. There's a deeper knowing that is there. But I was listening to a talk from Candace yesterday, and she was talking about how as soon as you realize this stuff, there is no way to go back, or not only not to go back, but you will become, um, you know, in the stream of consciousness or whatever. Instead, you don't have to take short moments anymore. At some point you'll just be flowing. And I find I'm struggling with that part a little bit. I do get into those times that I am, and then I'm like, oh, I've just messed it up. And then, and like there's so many layers of, of realization too in different moments. And sometimes I'm totally like, oh yeah, I got it. And then other times I'm like, but what happened? I don't have it anymore. And then so and that's normal and that's good, and I just wanted to put that out there for the group too, that yeah, sometimes we struggle and other times. But then that awareness that the like just thinking about being okay with the moment, there's also layers of that for me right now happening, which are really great, like more deeper layers of that, of being really okay with the moment and having that lovely sensation at the moment of knowing that you're there, so yeah, just wanted to put that
Great.
out there. Yeah.
Yes, thank you. That's perfect. Yeah. Yeah, it's powerful I love that to recognize that we actually cannot yeah, once it's recognized, open intelligence, we cannot lose it.
Yeah.
It never can go back. And because yeah, it becomes obvious how that's more part of the confidence. And yeah, that's great. And empowerment, it's perfect to have like a settling time, empowerment 8 and 9. So when we talk about the 12 empowerments, I just say it, Daniel, it's a 12 part, a teaching that goes step by step, deepening the recognition of open intelligence, but really very personal with one's own life, belief systems, relationships, especially there where it's more difficult to recognize open intelligence. But then how it deepens naturally, because actually empowerment 6 and 7 are like deepening, allowing data to be as it is. It's just that one sentence, but it's so deep, right? It's like the realization and the direct experience becomes more and more obvious and with depth forevermore, really, because there's no destination. But in the beginnings, it's very obvious when it really deepens, and then yeah, then with 8 and 9, especially with all the relationships and facing everything, yeah, the confidence deepens beautifully. So yeah, that's a great share. And then we think sometimes we lost, but how could it doesn't go anywhere, especially data can never mess anything up, but it still feels like it. So it's good. It's
Yeah.
yeah, it's
Well,
actually
the ego too, like, is trying to figure everything out, but the ego doesn't have to figure anything out. That's the whole thing, right? Like,
yeah,
and that's so
exactly.
great when you realize that. You're like, oh, okay, I'll just let that go and rest in rest in a short moment. It's like I don't need to figure anything out. Like, or the I that thinks, the ego part of you that thinks it should figure it out, and then you'll be okay. No,
Right.
no.
Yeah. And at one point also you see us that the ego or whatever we want to call it, ourselves, or the figuring out part is shining brightly as intelligence.
Hmm.
So like that kind of data, it's also data, right? Obviously. So we can that's also very free in its own place. But it's very yeah, open intelligence becomes very obvious when we then see, we don't actually need to meddle with data. It's great. Yeah.
Okay. Thank
Mhm.
you.
Thank you. And mm, yeah, Jochen put the link for the books on the website site in case you want that link. Great. Any other questions or shares?
I wanted to know how someone, how I could access the 12 empowerments. I did a lot of searching, and it doesn't seem like I'm not going to Sweden. So can you access it in
Y-
some manner? Can I? And
Yes, it's actually online.
it
And
okay,
yes, and the best way to do that is first to have a call, maybe with Jochen, for example.
okay,
So to just talk about it and on a one, we usually do that on a one-to-one to really share how the process works
okay.
and have support for that process. So I guess Jochen, you could, yeah, be in touch then, and then. But you don't have to go to Sweden for it. That's where the center is. Yeah. We have people who actually do the 12 empowerments in Sweden, however. But it's a good thing that, yeah, we can do it now. It's all online with videos. Then there's a body of text. And then also each text has questions attached to them that help to reflect on one's own life in terms of, yeah, open intelligence, and really opens it with clarity. And so one goes through the 12 empowerments with support. Yeah. But wherever we are, that's where we can do it. That's good.
Thank you.
Yeah, yeah. Right, yeah. Any other shares, maybe about the 12 empowerments or questions? Glory, how's it going for you?
Good morning.
Good morning.
Good to see everyone. It's beautiful. I appreciate everyone's shares, and there's a lot of direct experience that could be shared. And I would concur with everybody's share about the uh, sort of the naturalness of the unfolding of it and the confidence gained in it. Um, the other thing that's apparently happening is I'm realizing that I must convince myself in my own experience of all the teachings. I must come to that for the teachings are pointings, and the resting is the experience that actually is showing itself so that I can rely on that as, of course, with all the, but that's really what's happening is that it's showing itself. It shows itself all the things that are talked about. Uh, and that reinforces it and gains confidence instead of fear of what's appearing. Uh, the thing that's happening is the dream at night is so it's in such weirdness. It seems weird, but it's very, you can sometimes look at it and see what it is. But the dream is the data as well, the stream of data. And then this waking appears with this more real, you think it's a more real data. But so the dream, and I don't know, I just am using the dream is this naturally is happening. The dream is being used to show that this too is a dream. And I use that word because it makes sense to me. It's all a stream of data, no more real than the dream. And and that, because in the dream, in this, when this waking appears, that dream is forgotten. It's given no significance. It doesn't touch me. It doesn't affect me. And um, that's just what's happening as well, is that it's showing itself that this too, all this data is is in the unchanging space of the oneness, and it's not separate. Now I'm waking up, now I'm dreaming. It's a sleeping. It's a large present. That's not even the word. It's the same thing, no matter what's appearing. It's just a different. It's just those concepts of now I'm awake that are kind of being really inquired about. Um, it's just the same thing throughout any experience of data. That's my 2 cents today.
That's great. That's great. Which empowerment are you on, Laurie?
4 and 5.
Ah, because in empowerment 11, I think, is it 11, Kati, where we have a short section about dreams and sleep, and also the metaphor, like sleep is also used as a metaphor, sleep and dream, and it's like, waking up, right? Like we hear that all the time. It's like waking up and or awakening, and it is like that where we realize this ephemeral, insubstantial nature of daytime daytime data are in essence no different. And there is, interestingly, I'm just I'm in a little study group about consciousness at the moment from a neuroscientific perspective, and they're using dreams a lot in dream research to show, like, or to examine the nature of consciousness. And what you like in some traditions you would equate that to awareness or open intelligence as well. But it's really powerful, as you say, to see that. And usually it's easier, I guess, with our thoughts and emotions to, like the internal, so to speak, data that come up during the day, that they're non-different than what comes up in a dream. It's a bit harder to do with like the stuff, like how is this just a dream? um, but just in that analogy, when that is coming up and it's so vivid, that recognition is a powerful realization. It's a powerful realization. There is also in the text, you may have seen those, there are some others like likening data to a hologram, or what are the things called in the desert? I somehow only have the German expression for it.
Mirage.
A mirage, exactly. Thank you. So that there are all these expressions that show us that data in and of themselves are really insubstantial, but that open intelligence is the pride, as you called it, that space in which all of this occurs, and that's always present, unchanging, unwavering. And yeah, it's very powerful to have that sense of that unwavering presence, as you also called it. Yeah.
Yeah, and the impermanence of data,
Hmm.
even though you wake up and there's the same house, the same room, seemingly day after day, that can still be inquired into as to what that is. And it still appears, and it doesn't have to be a snag. But the impermanence of all data is very obvious. And what is not impermanent is that it's known that something, it's known that it comes and goes. And that sounds obvious as well, but all data is impermanent. It's just comes and goes, and it's like, even without my wanting it to.
Hmm.
Just this waking, the dream, it just all comes. I didn't cause it. It just comes. I don't want to think that. I don't want this to be here, or I like this, or it's just showing up on its own. And I'm just like this in this space. Like, you go to a bad movie and you don't have anything to do with the movie. It's a bad movie. It's just playing along or something. I don't know. Or a good movie or whatever.
And how does it support you here in your daily life? Do you see changes, benefits there? Mm-hmm.
Yes, and that's a good point. Because in the difficulties of relationships and things, there's a relaxing from it and a more lightness to it and a perspective of, as Jochen was saying, you focused on your little self in your mind, and as it expands, you see that as a happening in the space. And it is still painful and it snags you sometimes, but it is in no way the horrible relationship that it used to be. And it it's like loosening. It is literally the metaphor, loosening the grip, and it just is. It's loosening of a grip that is in a benefit to me. And is a benefit. It's a direct benefit to not gripping tightly, and it shows itself immediately of the benefit.
Right. Yeah. Right. Good. So you're on empowerment 5. Great. Yes. Perfect.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Mm-hmm.
One of the things I'm noticing, can you hear me? I'm not
Yes.
sure. Yeah.
Perfect.
Which I find actually a bit disconcerting is that I find myself, I might be walking down the street or I might be looking at something, and and internally I would be saying, "Blessed be," or "I hope, hope you have a wonderful day." I've no idea who. It's just an internal arising coming from nowhere. I thought, did I say that out loud? Because I'm terrified I'm going to go and grab a stranger on the street and give them a hug and say, "Have a lovely day," get carted off as somebody completely insane. But that seems to that internally, that sort of expansion, despite myself, seems to be happening, not all the time, but suddenly that sort of sense of it's all, not even that it's all one, but it's just a spontaneous internal expression, wishing somebody the very best for their day. And I have no idea who they are. I've never seen them before. I'll never see them again. And it's lovely, as long as I keep it to myself and throwing myself at strangers willy-nilly. The other thing that I'm on empowerment 12, and I've been reading the text, but I've just been sitting with it for a few weeks. I just don't feel inclined just at the moment to answer the questions, just sit with it. But one of the things that on the text that came up at the beginning, and we hear it very often, is stop thinking for a moment, and the question then is what remains. What I found a more helpful question to myself is that when you set everything aside, thoughts, feelings, any perception really, is, does anything remain? Because what I noticed when I asked myself the question, what remains, I subtly go looking for something to see if something is remaining or not. Whereas the question to myself of, does anything remain, is more open for me, because that allows for the possibility that nothing remains, which is, of course it does, but it's because it's very obvious that it does. But I'm not then trying to hoodwink my ego or something by, if that makes any sense. Just there's a movement towards something if I ask the question, what remains? the implication being something does. Well, maybe there doesn't. I just want to check out, is there anything that remains? And it becomes very evident very quickly. It's just, I know it's nuanced and it's subtle, but I don't feel as if I'm kidding myself then, or trying to search or grab or, yeah. So that's it. Thank you.
Well, obviously, yes, perfect. Well, first of all, very powerful experience you're sharing here also with your natural, spontaneous response of open intelligence, because that is the warmth, openness, just, yeah, the love, you can say, and expression of open intelligence. And obviously, we won't be hugging everyone that we see. And it becomes very grounded in what is of benefit and adaptable. But it is very a beautiful expression, because it happens that we actually don't see any strangers anymore. So ultimately, and sometimes we might see it and it's the same, but it is a very beautiful expression, because open intelligence isn't nothing. It's not a void, or it's like it is filled with love and benefit. And so beautiful you shared that with wishing someone well. So it is a very spontaneous expression, and it's not cultivated. It's spontaneous. And that was very obvious in your share. And you're past the introduction to open intelligence, even though every moment is the introduction, but there is not, once open intelligence is obvious and there's a confidence in open intelligence, there's no need for that question anymore in the same way, because everything has shifted completely. So now the question is, there's no need for such kind of question, because there is only open intelligence and its natural powers of benefit. We could now in this stage say, well, there's only the powers of great benefit. But you could make that into a concept or not. And when you are starting off, that'll be completely confusing. What remains the powers of benefit? Okay, let's contrive that one. Because it's conceptual initially, right? Okay, so but I think at any moment of our own direct experience, we will have aspects of the realization that inform that kind of consideration and deepening. So everything remains and nothing remains, probably is what I would now answer. But there's no right and wrong answer, really. Not and not. Mm.
I think
Yes.
think the what you just said there about it being uncontrived. Uncontrived is the single most beautiful word about this whole 12 empowerments or short moments. That is the word that I love the most, for whatever reason. And that's the thing is, I don't mean to imply that I'm 24/7 going down the street wishing everybody well. I can assure you I'm not. But the point is, it's uncontrived, or spontaneous. It just happens.
Yeah.
I don't think, right, I'm going to walk down the road and then the first 12 people I encounter, I'm going to wish them well. It just arises. As I said, I think the last time I was on, the lazier I get, the more spontaneous something arises, and that works for me.
Nice, yeah.
It's this uncontrived bit that it's hard. It's just trying to taste that is the most beautiful thing. But as I said, if anybody gets the impression I'm trying to say this is my lived experience 24/7, quite the reverse. But when it does arise like that, it takes me aback. And I think, yeah, this is it. This is it. This is how I want to live my life. And I want everybody else to live their lives that way as well.
That's beautiful, really. Yeah, yeah. Wonderful, Eileen. Thank you for sharing that. Yeah. Uncontrived, yeah.
I remember Candace Rinpoche spoke so much to that in Rishikesh, right? About the upwelling of warmth and compassion. And, so often it doesn't feel like the warmth and compassion that we think it's gonna feel like, but just like what you just shared, I wish that for everybody. How like it's and you're not trying to wish that for everybody, right? Like it's so natural for this to come up. And I often feel um like without even thinking about it or making it into a state or trying to be in it, but just living life and resting as that heart wish, you could say, without even trying to do that, but just being in alignment with it might be another way of putting it, and relaxing into that without hugging everybody that comes our way. They feel it. We feel it. We're such open beings in a way, and so receptive to what I don't know, I don't want to sound too woo-woo, but of the energy that other people have around us. And I often feel that openness, it naturally radiates out. Like I like that metaphor of the sun that just always shines. It doesn't worry about it or think about it. It's just shining and radiating. And I think it's the same with this innate quality of wisdom and compassion, that warmth. And in my own experience, the only thing that was you could maybe consider as like clouding that at times, or like many times, especially in the beginning, was the absorption in the data. And as that relaxes, that radiating happens in and of itself. We don't need to try and do that, or even think about it. And sometimes I think there was one time when I actually did ask, like, I don't remember where that was, but somebody just suddenly started talking to me about their bad day. And I just said, "Can I give you a hug?" So I did actually do that. And it was exactly because there wasn't much to say. It was just like a really bad day for this person. And it was exactly what they needed in this moment. It's just like it would have been better than like an hour-long teaching or conversation, was just give somebody a hug. And other times it might just be a smile, or it might not be anything at all. We might just continue walking and nothing happening, so to speak. But then that wish for everybody to live this way, I think we all pick that kind of energy up from each other. So that was very touching. Thank you. Thank you for sharing. So perfect for Empowerment 12, right? Because that's it's ultimately about, is carrying that benefit in an uncontrived way. Yeah. Thank you. Well, that was beautiful.
Thank you. Yeah, thank you, everyone.
Such a good call for the Four Mainstays, right? We heard from so many of you today about your experience of your practice.
Great. And well, thank you, everyone. For next week, we won't have a meetup next week, but we will, if you have any questions, we would like to send out a video responding to those. And then we'll meet again in 2 weeks. But if you have questions, just respond, write us directly or to info@shortmoments, and then we'll send out a recording as well. Good. Thank you, everyone. It was nice to be together.
Yes.
Thank you.